What if you're not the main character? We walk through life as if we are the protagonists of a grand narrative. Every experience, every interaction, every setback or triumph feels like it is leading towards some climactic moment, our moment. We are the ones who see through our own eyes, feel our own emotions, and think our own thoughts. And so, naturally, we assume that we must be the main characters in the story of life. But what if we're not? It is a question that can be unsettling at first. If we are not the main characters, then what are we? Supporting roles? Mere background extras? Are we just here to facilitate someone else's story? Or does this realization mean that there is no story at all? The answer, like most existential questions, is not a simple yes or no, but it does challenge us to rethink the way we construct meaning, the way we see ourselves in relation to others, and the assumptions we make about the significance of our own experiences. The psychology of the self. The idea that we are at the center of reality is, in many ways, unavoidable. Our consciousness is bound to our perspective, and that perspective makes everything feel personal. Cognitive psychology has long explored phenomena like the spotlight effect, in which we overestimate how much other people are noticing us. We walk into a room and feel that every eye is on us, scrutinizing our every move, when in reality, most people are too caught up in their own inner worlds to be paying much attention. Carl Jung spoke of the persona, the mask we wear to the world, and the deeper self that exists beneath it. Much of our identity is shaped by the stories we tell ourselves about who we are, and we unconsciously assign ourselves roles: hero, victim, underdog, martyr. These roles help us make sense of our experiences. Erik Erikson, in his theories of identity development, suggested that much of adolescence and adulthood is spent constructing a coherent self-narrative. Without a story, we feel untethered, without purpose. But is being the main character really the only way to give life meaning? A world beyond the self. If we let go of the idea that we are the sole protagonists, a surprising thing happens. Rather than feeling diminished, we might feel relieved. There is a weight that comes with believing that every moment is supposed to be leading towards something profound. Every failure feels catastrophic, every success feels like validation, and every period of stagnation feels like a crisis. But what if life doesn't have to follow that script? What if we are just part of something larger, a vast, interconnected network of experiences that exist beyond our individual stories? The existential psychologist Viktor Frankl, who survived the horrors of concentration camps and still found meaning in suffering, argued that life is not about being central, but about being of service. That meaning is something we cultivate, not something the universe bestows upon us. In his view, true purpose is not found in seeing ourselves as the main characters, but in recognizing how we contribute to the greater whole. Similarly, the concept of decentering in psychology teaches us that we are not always the focal point of a situation. When we learn to decenter, we step outside our own subjective experience and recognize the autonomy and richness of other people's lives. We see that they, too, are living deeply personal narratives, ones in which we might be mere supporting characters. Living without the spotlight. If we are not the main characters, how should we live? Do we resign ourselves to insignificance, or does this realization free us? Perhaps it allows us to let go of some of the pressure. We do not have to force our lives into a predetermined arc. We do not have to agonize over whether we are falling behind, or whether our stories are interesting enough. We do not need to compare our journeys to others, because in the end, every life is equally vivid and equally fleeting. Instead of chasing some imagined climax in our personal story, we can focus on being fully present. We can listen more deeply, love more freely, and act with greater humility. Instead of trying to shape the narrative to place ourselves at the center, we can simply show up, authentic, engaged, and open to the infinite ways life unfolds. And in so doing, we may just find something unexpected. The story doesn't need a main character. It is vast, interconnected, and beautifully incomplete. And that is what makes it worth living.